Good morning or afternoon, whenever you're watching this, and welcome to Girlfriends Knitting. I'm Carolyn. I go by Call Shirley on Plurk and Ravelry. And today I've got two FOs to show you, two whips, and a cool upcoming KAL. Alright, let's jump into the whips. The first one is an old work in progress that I finished, so it's been an FO. And I showed it to you as an FO, but I did not show it to you blocked. It doesn't look much different, but it became huge. So I'm going to back up a little bit. This is my stripe study. Here, let me show you the right side. It is, I literally cannot hold it. See, that's where my hand was, all the way across. It's that big. It is the Stripe Study pattern by Vera Valimaki. So same designer as the Color Affection. You know, it's kind of in that genre. Wraps around me quite a bit. I adore it, love it. It is one of many green and purple shawls that I have knit lately. I must get back up. I knit it on a size 6 out of Cascade Heritage silk in the green colorway, and it's a sort of a limey green, and then a hand paint in this variegated purple. So this is my Stripe Study, my stocking knit zombie retreat KAL finished object. So this is my green and other color shawl, and of course it's got to be green and purple with Amy and Megan. So that is my first finished object. The ends are woven in, just not trimmed, and I should have done that before I podcasted, but I didn't. But now it is blocked and done and just ready to go, and I love it. The next one you haven't seen finished, but it is not only finished, it is also blocked. I just haven't woven in the ends or trimmed them, and I did intentionally leave these because I'll show you. This is Gail, aka Nightsongs, and look how thin and gorgeous it is. The variegated yarn does make it very difficult to see the pattern, but to me it looks like little peacock feathers. I've never blocked lace before. This is my first true lace project, and I had no idea how much it stretches. It got huge. Now, the bottom row, this is not what the bottom is supposed to look like. It's missing about 4 rows. But I did feel like it was a good stopping place because the bottom of the leaf did finish out. So I went ahead and bound off. And this is how much yarn I had left over. Look, there's the end. Maybe 2 yards, maybe. So I ended up picking the absolute perfect spot to bind off because literally that's how much I had left. The yarn is Wool Mice in the Puff and Nog colorway. It's yarn I won from Megan of Stocking Knit Zombies. And it is another purple and green shawl. I kind of got on a purple and green shawl kick. I have another purple and green shawl blocking right now that I will show you next week. I knit this on a size 7. And I am in love with it. I am absolutely in love with it. It too is, as you can see from behind me, a very nice size. And just lots of wonderful. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. You can see the pattern a little bit there. So I know that many of you would not have picked such a highly variegated yarn for that pattern, and I completely get that, and I probably wouldn't do that again either, but I wanted something that screamed peacock. because this pattern screamed peacock to me. And so that's what I did, and I love it. So those are my 2 finished objects. Let's go on to my works in progress. I feel like this is a Stockin' Knit Zombies edition of the Girlfriends Knitting podcast because I have my stripy birthday socks. So this is out of some 716 Knits birthday yarn that came in the Stockin' Knit Zombies birthday kit, which I ordered last year. And it's the Partying It Up and Getting Down socks by Megan Williams. And I'm knitting them on my MKAL size 1 magic looping. So I have 1 sock and heel done. I didn't use the heel that Megan calls for in the pattern. I did substitute with just a basic short row heel. And now I am on sock 2. So it is Partying It Up, that's this one, so it's a toe up, and Getting Down. And so this is knit cuff down. So when they're side by side, see, they're going to go in opposite directions. So since they were going to be fraternal twins and not matchy-matchy, I just didn't even worry about matching up the stripes or anything like that. And I just love it. Love it, love it, love it. So these will be for me. And I am loving knitting them. And it's pretty mindless. There are a few times you have to look at the pattern. A few times I had to look at the pattern. But other than that, it was pretty mindless. And so I'm loving that. All right, one more work in progress. And this is a fairly big project. It is the Game of Thrones knit-along. And it was a mystery knit-along, and so for the longest time, I didn't even know what I was knitting. I just knit a few pieces here. This is a free pattern, so I'm not giving anything away. Then I knit some sort of like short row wedges, then a few more stripes, and then sort of this chainmail looking thing. And what it ends up being, and I can do this because my hair doesn't look great anyway right now, is, if I can get it arranged, and it'll block out some, but it ends up being a hood type cowl thing. So see, this lays down here. It has buttonholes, and then there'll be another flap on the back that you can then button. You can wear it up as a hood, or you can wear it down as a cowl. So there you go. And they had a colorway made for it called Winter is Coming. This is the Jimmy Beans wool company. They had a knit-along, Game of Thrones knit-along, which we've been watching Game of Thrones and loving it. But I didn't use their colorway. I just used some scrap yarn. This dark gray is the Kramer Perfection in granite. It was what I had left over from Chelsea's sweater that I made her for Christmas. And then the light gray is just a Martha Stewart merino that I had picked up at Joann's on sale. But I loved the fact that I ended up picking gray since the bottom is supposed to be reminiscent of chainmail. And I love it. I'm very interested to see what it's going to end up looking like once it is blocked and, you know, all of that. I also am going to try and figure out some really cool buttons for it. Don't know yet. May have to pick those out when I'm at Jenny's Wall o' Buttons this summer, which is coming up in just a few weeks. I'm so excited. 2 knitting retreats coming up that I'm going to be attending, and I'm just so excited. Going to the Zombie Knitpocalypse in June, and then going to SSK in July. So those are my 2 little summer vacations that I am very much looking forward to. Excuse me, my nose is itching. I wanted to talk about one more thing, but before I did, I wanted to send out a big thank you to Lee Abbott and Cynthia Fry. They both did some things super sweet for me this week, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to embarrass them, but I did want to send out a big thank you to both of y'all. That was very, very thoughtful and very much appreciated. So now let's talk about the upcoming KAL. So I saw a note by Susan Hayes of Desert Vista Dyeworks that said one of the things that she was doing for SSK was coming up with a shawl knit-along kits. And she wanted it to be based on this picture, which is Scaritt-Bennett. It's the dorms at Vanderbilt where SSK is held. And so she dyed up some yarn. And that's the yarn she came up with. Isn't that gorgeous? And she sent the yarn to Penny, who is, let's see, Knit by Bit Designs. And Penny came up with the following shawl, which they've named Summers at Scaritt-Bennett. And as you can see at the bottom, Susan says, I cried. Seriously, I cried. She was so amazed. And I completely understand. I was in love when I saw this. So, what she is doing is she is making the pattern and yarn for the Summers at Scaritt-Bennett shawl available as a kit for pre-ordering beginning June 1st. So, just next week. Or the end of this week, excuse me. Only for those who are attending SSK. Then, the same pattern, but with a different yarn, dyed especially for the pattern, will be available for those who are not attending SSK as a pre-order beginning July 1st. So it doesn't matter whether or not you're going to SSK, you still have an opportunity to participate. And the percentage of each kit sale will be donated to Scaritt-Bennett's women's programs. And then after SSK, the pattern will be made available to the public. So you can get the shawl kit, or you can just get the pattern. I would definitely go with the shawl kit because Susan's yarn is wonderful. So there's going to be a joint KAL, and it's going to start August 1st. And so we're going to have a joint KAL with Susan in our group. So Knit Bit Designs, Desert Vista Dyeworks, myself, Savvy Girls, and Wolf Farms. All of us are doing a joint KAL with this shawl. So you can get your shawl kits and get ready to start in August. And it will make a gorgeous fall shawl. So let me show you the shawl one more time. Summers at Scaritt-Bennett. And you're going to hear me mentioning this quite a bit. And I am super, super excited to get my kit. And in the knit along, she wanted to make sure she had at least one podcaster who would be going and one podcaster who would not, so that we'd have one using each of the different colorways. And so I'm going to be going, and so I'm getting this color, which is the color for those who are actually attending SSK. And then I believe Dawn is getting the color for those who are not attending SSK. So it'll be awesome. And I cannot wait. If anybody would like to contact me about donating prizes for the KAL, please let me know. I would be more than willing to talk to you about that. I am super excited about this. I hope that y'all are excited about this as well. And you'll be hearing about this quite a bit more. So that is what's going on, up and coming KAL. Then fitness. I am going to make a special episode of the podcast, and it's probably going to be both written and video, talking about what I've been doing with fitness. Today, after a day of traveling yesterday, I am bloated and horrible looking, exhausted. But some of you may have seen my before and after pictures up on Plurk, and I'll put some up on the blog as well. But I did a 10-day juice detox, and then am moving to a plant-based diet Basically, it's vegan, but it's like my mom and I were joking, it's part-time vegan, in that it's vegan for health reasons, not vegan for ethical reasons. Some people are vegan because they don't believe in eating animals. I totally believe in eating animals. I just find that it's not, from research I have done, I have found that it's not as good for people who have a history of heart disease, which, as y'all know from watching the podcast, I definitely have a history of heart disease. And so my mother and brother and I are moving away from an animal-based diet. So we're doing it for health reasons. So we're going to try to stick to once a week at most having something that wouldn't be vegan. So everything in moderation basically is the idea. But eating lots more plants and vegetables. On the juice detox, I lost 12 pounds. And then as soon as you start eating, you gain a little bit of it back, but you know that going in. And so overall, I ended up losing 8 pounds total, which I was amazed by considering it was only 2 weeks. So I know that this will work for me. Some things I did figure out, though, with my grass allergies, there are certain foods that cross-react. And so if you have a grass allergy, carrots, leafy greens, onions, they will cross-react with grass allergies. In other words, the same protein that's in those foods, the same food allergy protein, is the same as in grass. So when you eat that food, your body thinks that you're having a grass intake. So I did have terrible allergies throughout the detox because I learned about that. For me, the benefit of the detox was how much I learned about myself and my body. How much I learned how much of an addict I was. So I'm going to talk a lot more about that, but in a separate episode. So now I have to get moving and get training for the 5K coming up at Zombie Apocalypse, if any of y'all are going to do the 5K. I also have another 5K in October, plus another fun run coming up the beginning of next year. And we've even talked about the girls in the Warren family training to do a 10K together. And so that's something that we are going to be doing. So I had a blast this weekend with my family in a pre-birthday celebrations and got to see my nephews and niece and my brother and sister-in-law and mom, and it was lots of fun. Very emotional, but very good and lots of fun. So I had a great time. And I will see y'all again soon. Talk to you later. Bye.